Welcome to another session of One Take Wine. We're back. 3 wines. The sun is shining, spring is in the air. Got some joy in the glass. Oh, let's get at her. First wine. What do we got in the glass? Nice color. Lightly golden straw-like, which kind of makes sense, because I find it very straw-like or hay-like on the nose. Salt toffee-ish or fudgy. Kind of that base note to it. That's what it is. Brown butter and hay. I'm not a super fan. Almost herbal dryness combined with its minerality, because it is a mineral wine. It gives it a kind of a distinct sort of feel, because then you match it up with this sort of burnt butter, almost fudgy-like flavor with a hint of citrus, a hint of lemon. And maybe even some, it's almost like it once was a bit peachier and now it's eaten up. I've had it open overnight. I would say it was even more strict yesterday. Great length on this. I would even argue Grand Cru length on this. But it's the only thing that's Grand Cru about it. Very long. I love that length. I think it's great. It's a driving and persistent combination, which is always a great, great combination in any wine. I'm not so familiar with this region. I've had the wines before, but not with the same experience, say, of a Merceau or a Puligny, even Chassagne. I don't usually go in that direction, and here we're in a complete, well, not a complete, it's very close to both of those. Saint-Aubin. This is a Premier Cru from Hubert Lamy, who is becoming more and more, I mean, some of his wines, they're turning into collector items. It's a Clos de Chatenière, which is a Vieille Vigne Premier Cru. And there's a little map on the back there, on the back of the bottle. Maybe you can see that. Sort of its positioning closer to the Puligny border, maybe. According to this map, 2014, which was another draw. So it's 10 years old. It's got the nobility, but it lacks elegance. You know what I mean? It's got class, but very little elegance in a way. It's sort of, I don't know. That's not really super fair, because it's better than that. And like I said, that length is Grand Cru length, but that's kind of how I feel about it. I'm not too... Yes. There's lots to like about this wine, and I'll bet you for a lot of people, the flavor profile is much more up their alley. Let's move on. What do we get in the glass? Look at that color. See-through. I mean, it's all see-through. And that is just a distinctly burgundy nose. It is stocky. I'm almost positive it's a stockiness to this, and a plum depth to the fruit, which also has a kind of a candy-like high note, but very, very slightly, just enough to give it some interest, not enough to make it sweet or anything like that. This is quite a voluptuous wine. Not heavy by any means. There's a little bit of white pepper in there too. Quite complex. Lovely, lovely, lovely. And when I complained about elegance in the last line, no lacking that in this one. A little bit of length, I would say mid-long, relying a little bit more on the persistence of its tannin structure, which is okay considering where the wine comes from. There's a bitterness that comes, I'm sure there's stalks in this, but what do I know? Kind of a greenness to it that's refreshing and sort of clears everything up, it kind of cleans it and leaves the palate feeling refreshed, and there's nothing fatiguing about this wine. You just want to keep drinking it, and you never get tired of it. When I first opened it up, I was a little doubtful. Swedes have a great word for this. Tveksam, they call it. I love that word, tveksam, doubtful. So I was tveksam when I opened this bottle, and now, only 15, 20 minutes later, I love it. I do. I really, really like this wine. It's an easy thing to say, but you rarely come across stuff like this. This is really good. There's a purity to this that very few can achieve. And still, it's light, and it's almost, I think it's too watery almost. But there's a level of expertise and class that just shines through in this. You have to commend the craft in this. It's just insane how good it is. I wouldn't put this all down to just terroir and, some farmer sort of making the best out of what they've got in the field. This is real winemaking craft here, where the lessons were taken from the more elegant side of Burgundy. The elegance is what they were chasing, I think. I hope so, because that's what they ended up with. It's great because, yeah, the only thing I mean, if it had a little bit more body, a little bit more depth to it, but would I want more body and sacrifice some of the elegance? I'd say no. I'd rather drink it this light with the elegance that it has. I'd only recently heard about this producer. I don't really go in for the new wave or Venatio sort of approaches. I'm a little bit suspicious of them just because I had so many bad ones 10 years ago or so when it was starting to become a thing. I found that people were paying too much money for wines that weren't even correct. Skyaasen, they're called. And I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. Can you really drink this young Pommard? What is it? It's 2021 even. So it's that young. 21, not even a great vintage. This is a producer I'm going to keep an eye out for. I think probably anybody who enjoys Burgundy should as well. I think the prices are a little bit on fire. I think you might have a little bit more luck going to a restaurant, finding them on a list than you would at auction. Not in terms of finding them, but in terms of the prices. You'd probably get better value out of a restaurant. I don't know. I'm just guessing. Right now, I haven't really looked into it. This is my first bottle of it, so I will be keeping my eyes peeled, but I know what I paid for this. They're not giving them away. They're not going to be an everyday thing, but I'm definitely going to buy some more. Okay, let's go on to some more traditional roads, perhaps. I was a little torn in the order of it, but I ended up here, and I think I did the right thing. Now that I've got this beautiful flavor of the Pommard still lingering around in my mouth. Now, that Pommard had well, we shouldn't talk about that. Let's talk about what do we got in the glass. Look at it, much deeper color, purple. It's purple around the edges, so it's very, very young. And then wafting from this is this beautiful liqueurish kind of nose that's very sweet and kind of complex even. It's shimmering a little bit. Blackberry, blueberry type of thing. It's very mineral. I think the toast of the wood, there must be new wood in this. Maybe it's not new wood, but the oak is, it's there. I think the fruit more than stands up to it. Very good balance. Perhaps something floral, perhaps violets would make sense coming from where it comes from. And then I think what's going to happen, because this has got a huge black licorice finish, but it's almost like it's kind of, you know, like a shark, just right below the surface. Only a fin kind of popping out. It's lurking, and it's going to explode out of this maybe 3 years or 4 years or something with some lie down time. Delicious, very good length as well, with maybe a bit of heat, but long, very long for the appellation. Domaine Jean-Louis Chave, Saint-Joseph, 2020. 2020 being a pretty good year, I think, in those parts, and Chave being a master. I really like this. It's still lingering and pushing a little bit, so it's a nice driven finish. Like I said, a bit of alcohol tinge to it, but can't have everything. It's still kind of young, and it's still kind of raw. So that wood and that fruit and maybe a little bit of that alcohol, they're all kind of battling. It's still a marvel of balance, and it's still soft enough to be approached. It's still serious enough to put away. If you're not going to drink the Hermitage, which you shouldn't, I say that having offended the gods on more than one occasion by popping young Chave Hermitages, but these days I don't do it so much. And I must say that this is a perfect stand-in. And I would argue you shouldn't even be popping these young. They're pretty serious wines. They're much more serious than I gave them credit for. This wine and the one previous to it, the Pommard from Skyaasen, they were the same price. Which would I prefer to drink? Well, it's a battle of tradition versus the new. I think I want them both, but I just want them for different reasons. I would probably prefer this in the winter, fall. And the Pommard I could drink all summer long. All spring long, all fall long. How do I wrap this up? What a great tasting. 3 fantastic wines. The Lamy, a real oddball, but a Grand Cru length, nobility, lacks elegance. The Pommard, first of all, the Pommard that has 11.5% alcohol, unheard of. It is probably seen as a flaw by some. It's not a flaw with this wine. This wine is super, super elegant. Wonderful Pinot Noir. Pinot Noir, the way Pinot Noir is made when it's made by someone who knows what they're doing. The Saint Joseph from Chave is, I mean, it's a classic Chave, you know? It's an expected experience, but it's a beautifully balanced and wonderful, and it doesn't let you down. Fantastic if that's the kind of thing that you want in your glass today, but no grandeur. That's my impression of those three wines. Really had a great time this round. Hope you did too. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Hey, stay thirsty.